What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Elon Muscular, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys about the SARM, the selective androgen receptor modulator, LGD-4033. I have experience with this, and this is going to be a video that is from somebody that is not looking to sell you SARMs, not looking to promote them, not looking to jerk you around, bullshit you, and get $4 out of you with my 10% off discount code, okay? This is somebody who I used the SARM, I had the experience with it. My results were mixed, and I just want to tell you about my honest experience of what I know about this based on the research that I did before then and since then and everything like that. So let's jump right into it. A selective androgen receptor modulator, and these were created to try to have the positive effects of anabolic steroids without the negative effects. So they were trying to make them not like sex hormones, because all anabolic steroids are derivatives of testosterone, which is the male sex hormone. So they all have some kind of secondary sex characteristics. And obviously this isn't good for like women, children, stuff like that. So anybody that has any sort of muscle wasting or any, sarcopenia or any reason why they would need to take a SARM or something anabolic, this is for them, right? It wasn't created for bodybuilders, it wasn't created for sports or anything like that. But the reason that it got into the market is that around 2014, it was very popular, something called pro hormones. And what this was anabolic steroid recipes that had not been scheduled by the government. So when the government cracked down on anabolic steroids, they said, okay, testosterone's illegal, nandrolone's illegal, winstrol is illegal, anavar's illegal, all the ones that they knew, but there were other ones that had been discovered and they just weren't currently being synthesized and they were not on the list of banned compounds. So these pro hormones were very popular in the early 2000s, and like they were sold in GNC, and a lot of people took them, kids took them, they were over the counter. And then in 2014 the government cracked down on them and made them illegal. So SARMs came to fill that gap, and all the same companies that sold pro hormones like Blackstone Labs, Primeval Labs, Gaspari Nutrition, these were some companies that sold pro hormones, and some of them moved into the SARMs market and started selling SARMs. So at the time I was being marketed to, these products were being marketed to me heavily, and I was 19 years old and interested in performance enhancing my body, but I was scared, of course, of needles, and I didn't want to be on testosterone for the rest of my life. So I thought, okay, I'll experiment with LGD. And it was actually Jerry Ward, the YouTuber, that was promoting Primeval Labs at the time, which I still like their products, and I bought my LGD directly from their website. It was 5 milligrams and there were 60 pills. So in human trials, LGD has only been ever dosed up to like 1 or I think maybe 2 milligrams per day, and these capsules that Primeval Labs was selling was 5 milligrams, so it's 5 times the dosage of anything that had been studied up until that point. So there's really no way to say that it's going to be safe to take, right? But I didn't really know that at the time. I read the 1 milligram studies and I thought, okay, seems pretty safe. In the 1 milligram studies, they didn't really have a lot of side effects, and they did put on a significant amount of muscle, so I felt confident taking 5 milligrams a day. Now, the one thing that they did see in the 1 milligram trials was testosterone suspension, but all the influencers and people trying to sell SARMs were saying that SARMs, they're not really suppressive, you don't really need to PCT, you probably won't have low testosterone symptoms, and I believe that. But then on the other side, there was people like Dylan Gemelli at the time. I don't know if any of you guys remember him. And then he would sell you SARMs, and then he would sell you his research chemical, Clomid and Nolvadex. So it's really hard to find the accurate information on like, what would happen to your testosterone levels if you took this and what the repercussions would be, but I figured that it would probably be fine because in the research the people recovered pretty quickly with their natural testosterone levels. So I thought even if I do have a dip, I'll probably be back online within a few weeks. I'm young, so that's what I figured. Start taking the LGD, and it was me and my friend taking it together, and within a few weeks I'm seeing really, really great results in the gym. The amount of weight that I'm lifting is skyrocketing. I started to have so much energy to even work out twice a day. I think a lot of this might have been placebo because I was so excited to be taking something, but when I say that the results came quick, I'm not lying to you guys. It was my first time ever using anything. I had maybe 3-4 years of weight training behind me, and I put on a solid 5 pounds in those 6 weeks. I'll post up pictures right here so you can see that the transformation I made on like a slight maintenance like bulk was actually very impressive, and I was very happy with my results on LGD. The one side effect that I did get though was that towards the end of the run of LGD, so towards the end of the 6 weeks, we were actually coming up on Valentine's Day. So we're actually coming up on Valentine's Day now. So this would be about 6 years ago at this point, and I had a date for Valentine's Day. And you know, long story short, the date got to the bedroom and I'm not working properly. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I never had this kind of issue before. I never had any psychological or anxiety issue that would cause an erectile dysfunction. I was 19 years old, so you know, I was used to this stuff working properly, and after 6 weeks on LGD, I can tell you that it very much was not working at all. And that was very humiliating for me and embarrassing, and it made me think that, you know, what am I really doing to myself? This is actually having consequences on my life, not just my sex life, but what is this doing to me internally that I can't, you know, get an erection at 19 years old? My testosterone must have been really low. So after I stopped taking the LGD, I was kind of anxious and waiting for things to come back. Within 2 to 3 weeks, I was feeling completely normal, and I kept a lot of the gains that I made actually. So overall, what would I say about the cycle? I would say overall, I had a good experience in terms of the performance enhancing benefits of LGD, and I can see how it could be effective in putting on muscle. However, in the future, I would not use it without a testosterone base or some kind of base, because the real reason why that I was having these issues towards the end was that I had no testosterone and low testosterone and low estrogen in my body. So I wasn't able to have the normal functions that I needed to have. So if I were to take something like this again, I would definitely use like a small dose of testosterone alongside of it just to maintain that function. But nowadays though, I understand that there's some oral solutions like oral steroids that you can take that probably would give you better results than LGD with less side effects and not really give you the erectile dysfunction that I had. Like for example, a D-ball only cycle or like a D-ball and anavar cycle might be a little bit more good feeling, and you won't have erectile dysfunction because of the estrogen from the D-ball. So when you use sex steroids, you avoid a lot of these, you know, suppression side effects that you might get if you take SARMs in a high dosage for a long period of time with no testosterone. Overall, I would say that for somebody that, you know, never did a cycle before, it was very exciting for me, and it was a decent way to dip my toe into the performance enhancing pool. And I wouldn't say that I regret the experience, but the issue nowadays though is that SARMs are like, they're very, very gray market now. They're being cracked down on a lot. So all the legitimate companies that really can put their name behind these SARMs are not selling SARMs anymore. So pretty much the only ways to buy SARMs is like in liquid form now from these like weird research companies. So the quality of the products has definitely gone down, and the chance that you're not getting SARMs is much higher, especially in capsule form. It's illegal to sell SARMs in capsule form because there's no way to mask that this is being, like, you're not allowed to sell them as supplements for people to take. And when you sell them in capsules, it's obviously something that you intend somebody to swallow. Whereas if you sell it in like a vial of liquid, then, you know, it really could go either way. You could administer that to any sort of thing that you're looking to do, right? But a capsule is very obviously a dietary supplement. So especially if you're buying SARMs capsules, I would be very wary, because a lot of these shops that sell them are fly-by-night. You know, they pop up, they give a bunch of athletes affiliate codes, they disperse the SARMs, and the quality is not controlled by them. They get the powder from China. You can buy SARMs powder in mass if you even look on AliExpress from China, and that's what they do, and then create these solutions. And who knows what's in this powder? You know, there could be remnants of anabolic steroids, it could be baking soda for all you know. So I would say that in a weird way, the SARMs industry right now is actually more unregulated than the underground anabolics industry, where at least there's like people testing sources, and people, like, there's an underground community where you can start to understand the legitimacy of the products, and brands have built up their names over time. Whereas with SARMs, it's still a very much the wild, wild west. So If you're looking to take LGD, I would say be very careful. Make sure that you know what you're getting and consider using some kind of testosterone base alongside of it if you're scared of erectile issues. Another thing that I would like to bring up is that there has been a study where one individual, it's a case study, took 10 milligrams of LGD per day and he experienced acute liver failure. And it's been shown over time that, SARMs, especially in high dosages, do damage the liver, but we don't know how much. It's much more documented with 17 alpha alkylated steroids like Debol, Anavar. Like, we know how those affect the liver, but we don't really know how the SARMs affect the liver. And now people are having liver failure too at dosages that really aren't that much higher than what a lot of people are taking. So I would be very careful of that as well. These are things that we don't fully understand yet. And if you're someone that's just dipping your toe in the water with fitness and bodybuilding, I don't see why you would benefit from taking something that you barely understand, that we as a community barely understand. I would rather you take something that has been well researched and just don't buy into the marketing hype that you're going to get steroid-like effects without the side effects. Effects and side effects always come together. So the more benefits you get, the more side effects you're going to get, unless you're very smart and can learn to mitigate these things. But with SARMs, we just don't have all the information, so there's really no way to mitigate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about LGD. If you appreciate honest, straightforward bodybuilding content, not trying to sell you some bullshit, but really just telling you about my experience with, over a decade experimenting with this stuff, hit subscribe. Check out the Bodybuilding Lifestyle Podcast. All I want to do is give you guys the most accurate information that I possibly can so you can make the best decisions with your own physique moving forward. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.